Hello and welcome to the channel. Well, at long last I've got round to looking at this guy. I did film him before, but it was on the old camera and I enjoyed that review, but when you look at the quality of this camera, it's had to be done again. So this is why I'm doing this tonight. Adam West, who played Batman in the 60s and did a movie with the actor Burt Ward, who played Robin. And I just get some angle shots and I'll just come in close on that photograph there of Adam West, who played Batman. And he also went on to do the voice of Mayor West in Family Guy, but sadly he's no longer with us. And I decided to just do this review now because the license for McFarlane's is coming to an end, as everybody knows, and there was talk of doing the Burt Ward Robin, which you need to do really to make this figure complete, because from day one Robin appeared in that 60s series, and I believe he was only 17 when he got that role. If I remember rightly, in an interview he said he was working on the beach in California or something like that, and auditioned, not knowing he was going to get it, but it was actually Adam West who wanted him for the role. So at the end of the day, he became iconic alongside that actor as Robin. So this pose is of him doing what they call the Batusi, and I remember this in the series, or possibly the movie, I'm not sure now, it's been that long since I've watched it, and it being a big speaking point at school the next day, that weird dance he did. So those are kind of the gesture hands that came with the figure, because that's the kind of way he looked in the Batusi dance. So I'm going to give you a couple more poses and see what we can come up with. So your next one is kind of mimicking the box there, because that's the sort of gesture hand, as you can see. It looks weird to me though, I have to say, but it's mimicking that there, and I apologise for that bit of light glare there, but you can see what I mean. That sort of gesture finger and hand is supposed to be that. So I won't dwell too long on this, because I'm actually just showing at the moment the hands he comes with. So you've seen the Watusi hands, and that was the gesture hand, and on the other hand where he's sort of gripping the belt there, just kind of a gripping hand, and he has another one of those. So let's move on to the next one and change things up a bit. So we're coming close on this one. Got him square on, and I put in that other gesture hand there, sort of a pointing finger. Not bad. And yeah, with the wide cape you're able to obviously shape it to the way you want it to look with the pose. Not sure if I'm entirely convinced of that pose with the cape, but the actual figure in that pose I quite like. Let's come in close again and just go around the other side. Okay, let's see if we can get another one. I don't know exactly which one to use. So this one, still got the pointing hand in, but in that gripping hand he has a batarang. I know some of the fans say that's a bit big, but no, I'm happy. And you see that hole in the batarang, I believe you can put obviously some string in there and have him climbing up probably a diorama of a building, which is good. That would look better actually if you got that Robin made, Mr. McFarlane, and you could have the two of them going up the building. Flared out the cape, and just a little note about the cape, this is not really kind of how it is in the series. I would say, looking at it recently, the actual cape comes down to just past those Speedo trunks, or diaper pants as people like to call them. So it just gets past his backside, but they've obviously made it bigger. But I like this. This is kind of opening up possibilities when it comes to the posing. So I don't have any complaints, but I suppose a purist would want it to be as accurate as possible. But I'm happy with it. And I think that's not a bad likeness of Adam West either. You know, it kind of is there. So let's change it up again. So got him now with this other accessory in his hand. So he does come with obviously hands that you've seen tonight, and that accessory and that accessory. Now I believe that is, as I remember, some sort of tracking device, but also acts as a communicator between him and Robin. But I'll probably do one action pose with him holding these two things just to see what I can do. I love posing this figure, but with the wide cape you kind of have to sort of work with it a little bit more, because you want it to look natural on the figure. That's why, in a way, I prefer moulded capes. They're set in stone. You don't have to worry about that. You just concentrate on the pose for the figure. But I don't regret this figure having a wide cape. At the end of the day, Batman is very dynamic, and you want that cape to kind of help that image along. So let's give him one pose in sort of an action pose, as I say, with those two pieces of equipment that he comes with. So I've created a bit of movement now with the figure. The legs are wider apart. Obviously he's attempting to throw that batarang, and he's holding the communication device. It's an okay pose, but I just wanted to show you guys some of the dynamic things you can do with this figure. And I've posed him off camera a lot, and he does do some nice poses, but I'm not going to do those tonight. I've just shown you the basics of this figure, and I like that angle shot there, and I prefer the cape to be a bit closer to his body, but that takes more work, so I've flared it out as though the wind is affecting it, but it's not bad. And I'll try one more without the batarang and show you what that looks like. So I've just got him now holding that kind of tracking device, and he's kind of looking down at it. I think this looks kind of better from a distance actually, like about there. And I've tried to get the cape wrapped kind of around him, but it's sort of a kind of a bit of a pain. So I managed to get that kind of wrapped around effect down towards his feet. But I have done it once where I've actually almost wrapped his entire body, but this is kind of not that kind of pose. And there he is. So I'm hoping that McFarlane's will do that Burt Ward Robin, because they only looked together, well, they actually look better together, but in the series there were times when Robin had been captured and Batman had to go in and get him. But I also like them to continue in this line anyway. There's Commissioner Gordon, Officer Mahoney, Aunt Harriet, who was the assistant to Alfred, and of course all the villains. But who knows? But I do like that. And also, of course, there was Yvonne Craig as Batgirl. I think she was actually the niece of Commissioner Gordon. But at the end of the day, I'll give you one more and call it that. So this is the sort of last one, really. It's Batman with his kind of fists up. Because in the end, as it always was in those episodes, it ended with him putting his fists up alongside Robin and having it out with that particular villain that week. Same bat time, same bat channel. And I love that show. And it was because of this guy, a young Tim Burton, decided that one day he'd like to make another Batman film or TV series. And the first choice for the fans wasn't Michael Keaton. And I have to admit, I was one of those people. I'm a huge fan of him. I first saw him in a film called Johnny Dangerously, and I knew he was a brilliant actor then. And of course, Beetlejuice was my favourite film with him in it. But when it was announced that he was going to play the role of Batman, people didn't want him to. I think the role was actually offered to Mel Gibson. And there was talk that Adam West was interested in doing the role, but I think they went a bit ageist on him and didn't really, well, the people fronting the money didn't want him to come back in the role. But I remember in that interview he said, my utility belt still fits me. So, yeah, eventually when Michael Keaton did it, well, the rest is history. And it's so good that he did do that role, because he set that standard for all the other Batmans with that kind of voice and the mannerisms of Batman. I'm not saying the actors didn't do their bit, because they were all good in my opinion. But this is the guy that started it all. And I think that's it really. That's Batman in a kind of fighting pose. I suppose I better do one more actually of him actually throwing a punch, just to see what that looks like. And then we really will call it a day. So that's it, guys. I gave it my best shot. And that's him sort of throwing a punch. And it's not a bad one. I've tried to open out his posture and flare out that cape just to show you how dynamic you can get it. And I've widened his stance. And that's not a bad shot from there. I've actually had him in the kneeling pose, but I'm not going to do that tonight. But that's not a bad shot. I do like that. Haven't displayed him this way. Actually, I normally display him just holding the communication device. On an occasion, I've had him posed out with both the communication device and the Batarang. But tonight, I'll probably I might even leave him like this, I'm not sure. But more than likely, I'd have him holding the Batarang and the communication device. When I first got this figure, I had him in the Batusi pose for about a year, because I just thought it was an unusual way to see Batman. But yeah, that's the review. I would say that was covered. One more look at the accessory, Batarang, tracking and communication device. And one more look at Adam West, Batman, who is sadly missed. And the fans are eternally grateful to this guy, alongside Burt Ward and all the famous actors that went into that show who played the villains and made that show what it is. So for me, it will always be my favourite Batman, but I am a huge fan of Christian Bale and Michael Keaton and Val Kilmer and George Clooney and Ben Affleck, and you know, whatever Batman they bring out in the future, I hope they keep pushing the standards, because I know these actors have all played their part in making Batman iconic. And on that note, I'll say thanks for watching the channel, and I'll see you again next time.